So, in this week's podcast, I'm going to answer a client question to start, and then we're going to talk about just the importance of enjoying what you're doing, enjoying the process. It is 100% vital. First, client question. I got asked, do I have any recommendation that I am following that's online or someone else's recommendation for cholesterol? I have said before, and I'll say it again, that cholesterol is not always the bad guy. Cholesterol is actually very beneficial when it comes to creating strength, creating muscle mass. And when you cut cholesterol out completely, or take a medication like a statin, a medication that ends in statin, like a torvastatin, that blocks cholesterol, there is a reduced ability to build strength and build muscle. So I've talked about that before. I am not following any type of recommended dose for cholesterol or recommended amount people should have as far as building strength and building muscle. I've just read studies that show that when you cut cholesterol out, when you reduce it as much as you can, or when you take a statin, in both cases, people have I think it said 16% reduction in their ability to build strength and muscle mass versus people who ate cholesterol on a daily basis. I don't recommend eating massive amounts of cholesterol. So basically, whatever you consume and don't use, that's what becomes essentially bad for you. Your body has to process it out or do something with it, right? So if you're eating, let's say, massive amounts of sugar and doing nothing, that's when sugar becomes bad for you, right? I know some people, a lot of doctors out there would say that not eating the sugar and then not doing movement is actually better for you than consuming the sugar and then doing movement and burning it off. I'm on the fence about how I feel about that. But sure, that I've seen studies out there that would recommend that not consuming it and not moving is actually better. But if you do consume it, use it. I've seen people, it was a triathlon group that I used to know. So they'd run, swim and bike like nearly every day. These people ate loads of sugar. Like they lived on gummy candies. They just kept them going. They were all shredded, right? They're all ripped and they ate more sugar than anybody because they use it. So it's fuel for your body. The same thing with cholesterol. If some of it's good for you, but I'm not saying eat loads and loads and loads of bacon and use bacon fat to cook all your food in. Every now and then it's fine, right? And eggs are great. And a couple a day is, I'm sure, fine for most people as long as we're doing a little bit of strength training, as long as we're doing some muscle building. There's not a guide that I follow. It might even be considered a little bit fashion forward of me to suggest that cholesterol is not the bad guy. There, you can find that online these days. You can find the American Heart Association is always back and forth on this. And I believe the most current thing I looked up was that they're like, you know what? We don't actually think anymore cholesterol plays this huge role in clogging your arteries, probably a lot of other factors. But they still recommend don't go crazy with it. And I agree that you shouldn't go insane with it. So if you ate more sugar, let's say back to the sugar one, if you ate more sugar than you're going to use, and say you're on a calorie surplus, you might gain weight despite your activity. Same with cholesterol. If there is some part of it that can be bad for you, if you consume it and don't use it, if you are using it in the gym, but let's say you're eating way more than you should be, then maybe parts of it that could be bad for you, or the reason it might be bad for you if you consume too much, maybe it would be bad. I really think overdoing anything is bad for you. So too much cholesterol, too much sugar, too much of anything, too much working out, it can break your body down too hard. Too much water, eventually it becomes toxic. You will delude your body if you have too much water. Too much of anything is bad for you, but a little bit cholesterol, a little bit sugar, a little bit of a lot of things, if used afterwards with appropriate daily work, appropriate daily movement, is totally fine. But no, I'm not following any kind of recommendation. I don't know that a recommendation for how much cholesterol you should consume even exists. I don't know that there even is one I could follow. But no, it's just my own research, my own looking into things. That is what I'm going off of. It's just some studies I've read, but nothing that's actually highly recommended quite yet. But I think in the future it will be, unless I hate to call evil on pharmaceutical companies and whatnot. I don't think that really exists as much as people think it does. But there's a lot of money invested in statins. So maybe they would have a reason to not want people to start saying cholesterol is okay for you, because then who wants to take a statin medication that blocks it if we're saying cholesterol is okay now? So I don't know when people start recommending cholesterol again, but I do know a lot of different organizations are finally saying, It's not necessarily the bad guy. So, okay. And then enjoying what you do. I just made a TikTok about this. Basically, if you run a mile or if you walk a mile, they both burn. If you looked it up, you can Google it. How many calories do I burn if I run a mile? It's going to be about 100. It's based on your body weight, different factors. How many calories do I burn if I walk a mile? It's about 100. A lot of people choose to run a mile rather than walk a mile because it's over quicker. The problem with that, when that's your mindset, is you've already made up your mind that what you're about to do is unenjoyable and that you're not going to enjoy this process whatsoever. So you'd rather get it over with and do the 10-minute run than the 15-minute walk. When you have a negative label attached to something, you're definitely not going to enjoy it. You're judging it before you even got started. And you're likely to quit not very far into it. Anything that you don't judge, that you just feel as you're doing it, can be enjoyable. Washing your hands, if you're fully vested in this moment and just noticing how everything feels, all of a sudden isn't just something you're rushing to do to get over with just because the end goal is clean my hands. It's suddenly something that can be quite enjoyable. The simplest things are enjoyable when you are just really here in this moment with it. And so even with working out, it can be a very enjoyable process if you are just there in the moment. A lot of people, they go to a CrossFit class once a week because CrossFit beats the crap out of you and they want to just get it done, get it over with. They feel it's supposed to be painful, so they go and sign up for the most painful thing possible. They don't really enjoy it, and a lot of those people quit, and a lot of them don't get the greatest results on top of that. I never recommend tormenting yourself with anything. I always recommend, even over working out, finding something, any activity that you enjoy, anything you enjoy, whether it's jujitsu, softball team, something that you can do that you enjoy. Maybe softball isn't the best for burning calories, but there's all kinds of drills and things that you can do to help you be better at softball, right? So you can practice these things and you might enjoy that better than going for a jog or something, or going for an extended walk for a long period of time. But enjoying what you do is such an important part of any process, anything you're doing. And the second you allow yourself to start judging it negatively, you're not going to enjoy it. But you might think, I'm going to do it anyways because I'm going to get it out of the way and I want to be lean. I want to look good this summer, whatever it is. And so you torment yourself, but I guarantee you quit. If you enjoy jujitsu though, let's say, you're not waiting around to torment yourself in some class. You can't wait to go to jiu-jitsu class because you enjoy it. You find enjoyment in some kind of activity, even running. At some point, if you can at least just say to yourself, I want it to be running and I know I don't enjoy it, just stop paying attention to the narrative in your head about what this feels like. And I promise, if you keep it up, even with running, at some point, you'll be able to run so far that how can you not find that enjoyable? How can you not find the cardiac capacity that you have to be able to do this, to be able to sustain a run for several miles and you're not even winded? You will enjoy that at some point. I did an experiment hiking Mount Woodson twice a week. At first, it was difficult. There were probably times when I thought, I'm not really enjoying this. It's a 7-mile hike. It's rigorous. Some people take about 4 hours to do it. Once you're efficient at it, you can probably just jog it in an hour and a half. But at some point, I just started to go further and further on this hike, and further as far as like how quickly I was running it. I started to become better and better at doing this hike. Not further. I would always go the same distance. But my body was just more capable each time of doing it. And eventually I just found myself jogging the whole. I'd walk it at first, a little treacherous, and then you find yourself jogging certain points. And then a little later, you find yourself jogging the whole thing. And then at some point, you find yourself running parts of it and jogging some of it. And your cardio capacity gets so good, it just feels good to be able to run up a hill and not be winded, run 3.6 miles uphill and not really feel too bad, walking some points maybe, and then jog your way down. And even some points running, being careful, of course, but running parts of the way down. It just feels so good to feel that fit. And you look great on top of it when it comes down to it. I posted a picture. You can see me, I'm squatting down and my stomach is flat while in a squatted down position when we're all posing for a picture that we're having to. But you can learn to enjoy anything. You just be there with it fully. Just every rep you do, feel what that feels like and just be there in the moment rather than trying to rush through it because you want to get to the end point and be done with it. If that's your mentality while you're working out, you won't enjoy it whatsoever. If that is though, maybe it's just that the activity, maybe that's just not your thing. Find something else. Find something you're going to enjoy. I made a TikTok about this recently and I was just doing some movement drills, some mobility drills. I don't do those all that often, but I'm always trying to experiment with it. And just when we always do the same type of workout, I feel that there's no way you can cover everything. You have to be diverse every here and there. So I always just every now and then I'll add in some mobility stuff, maybe some yoga positions, some inverted stuff, and work some muscles that maybe at that angle that this part of my upper back never gets worked all that well. So I'm always changing it up. It's a lot of fun and it just adds some diversity just to change things and keep it new, keep it fun. I enjoy the gym either way. I love the workout I do and I never have a negative label on it at all. I just really enjoy the whole process, but I still like to change things up. If you have any questions about that or you find yourself talking negatively to yourself when you're working out, hit me up, drop me a line. We'll talk about it. Okay. All right. Till next time. See you guys.